Hello friends, today we are going to look at the daily writing routine of author Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens was widely considered the greatest novelist of the Victorian era. With works like A Christmas Carol and Oliver Twist, he was known for his memorable characters and their memorable names. Ebenezer Scrooge, Bob Cratchit, The Artful Dodger, and Bill Sikes, to name a few. Dickens' works, more often than not, followed the picaresca style. The term picaresca is derived from the Spanish word picaro, which means rogue or rascal, and refers to prose fiction depicting the adventures of a roguish hero who generally starts out in a low social class, living by his wits in a corrupt society. If you've read Dickens or even know summaries of his works, this should ring a bell. Within Dickens' writing, you'll also find plenty elements of the sentimental novel, an 18th century literary genre, and melodrama. Dickens was a larger-than-life character and also the most famous celebrity of his era, so it's no surprise that his daily routine was quite involved. Dickens published his novels in installment form via periodicals and magazines, and so was required to have multiple chapters ready for publication at short intervals. While this allowed him to gauge audience feedback, one could argue this as a benefit or a detriment, it inevitably was a strain to his creativity. To meet his intensive schedule, Dickens kept the same hours every single day. His eldest son recalled that no city clerk was ever more methodical or orderly than he. No humdrum, monotonous, conventional task could ever have been discharged with more punctuality or with more business-like regularity than he gave to the work of his imagination and fancy. So, what did this stringent schedule involve? Charles Dickens rose from bed at 7 in the morning. An hour later, he ate breakfast at 8. By 9, he was locked in his study. There he would stay until 2 p.m. with room for a brief lunch break with his family. It is described that during this break, he often seemed to be in a trance, eating mechanically and barely speaking a word before rushing back to his work. During these hours, he would complete an average of 2,000 words a day. If inspiration struck, he could do twice that. However, if he faced a lack of inspiration, he would still remain at his desk, doodling and staring out the window to pass the time. At 2, Dickens left his desk at last and took a 3-hour walk through the countryside of the streets of London. During this walk, he would think of his story and, as he described it, search for some pictures he wanted to build upon. Returning home, his brother-in-law remembered he looked the personification of energy, which seemed to ooze from every pore as from some hidden reservoir. Heading into the evening, Dickens' nights were relaxed. He ate dinner at 6, then spent the evening with family or friends before retiring at midnight. So as you could probably tell, I was not as stringent with this schedule as Dickens himself, because honestly I couldn't do it. First of all, I didn't get a precise word count because I was focusing on editing rather than writing. That being said, I got the first half of the first run-through of As Above, So Below finished, so productivity was good. And it was really interesting to read this again after the break that I've had. My schedule, as you know, if you've been watching my channel, is a bit nuts right now, so honestly the main reason that things were not so precise was because I was multitasking for other videos and projects. Still, I found it to be an interesting experiment. Where the walking was concerned, I managed about 2 hours overall. I took one lengthy walk at 2 in the afternoon, and then later on in the evening, I had an errand to run, so wound up walking around a bit more. Now, I love walking and being outdoors, especially this time of year when the weather is just super nice and we don't have that extreme of summer hitting yet, at which point you will not see me outside. But 3 hours is just something I would have to work up to. Also, as much as I love Montreal and the area that I'm in, I would much prefer to wander about a less civilized location if it's going to be for pure imagination for my stories. Give me the wild moors and you would never see me again. The food was also a problem. When Dickens was a child, his father was forced into debtor's prison, and Charles, age 12, was forced to leave school and work 10-hour days at Warren's blacking warehouse. As you can imagine, this was not a luxurious lifestyle, and it informed his inspiration for many fictional works. But another thing that it informed was a love for the indulgences of life, one of those being food. Breakfast in Victorian England was robust, and Dickens and his family would eat a substantial meal. So I prepared a substantial meal. Because of this, I was just not feeling lunch, but I pushed forward anyhow. Dickens likely took a simple meal of soup and cold meats, in my case, vegan ones, and then by the time dinner rolled around, it would be another large affair. I'm not a hyper-scheduled eater, and what I do eat can be a bit random, so these very scheduled, often large meals just were not for me. And I actually can't remember what I wound up eating for dinner that night, but it was not a large Victorian dinner. I had gotten home from running my errand, which kind of failed, and I was pretty frustrated, so filming stopped, I wrapped that up for the night, and I did not make it to the midnight bedtime, sadly. All this being said, I do have a lot of fun looking into the activities of famous authors and finding out more about what made them tick, and I plan on doing more of these. My verdict for Dickens' routine is simply that it is too much for me. On paper, it actually sounded almost relaxing to me at first, but it's just not. I guess at some point I should show my daily routine, but I'm not sure I want to because it's angst-filled and would just feature many cutscenes of me passed out, face down on my bed because I simply couldn't function a moment more and needed to reset my brain. But I hope that you enjoyed my Dickens day. What author would you like to see me try the routine of next? Let me know. Sprints will be back on YouTube tomorrow, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm a bit out of practice, so I'm not gonna lie. Part of me is saying cancel, but I won't. I will be there, and I will probably be caffeinated and ridiculous and out of it, but I hope to see you there too. And if you want sprints during the week, hop on Discord. The link is in the description below. Our community is very nice. We don't bite, and we're very creative. Oh, and please remember to check out my Haunted Montreal channel that I am hosting now. I'll link it up here somewhere, so if you like spooky stories, it's the place to be. As always, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button so you actually get notified when I post new videos, and of course, I hope that you are having a day that is just as wonderful as you are. Bye.